Both of my parents were migrant farm workers.
This is now our country.
We don't have a Hispanic office here. The whole office is Hispanic. The bishop is Hispanic.
I am optimistic about the future of the Hispanic community.
And we try to maintain as many of the traditions, especially on my mother's side, at home, because my mother was so Catholic and so faithful to the church, and that's what she wanted us to be, very close to the church, very close to God.
Although a traditionally Protestant area, Lubbock County is home to almost 40,000 Catholics. The majority of them are Hispanic, and their culture has influenced local Catholic culture. As the Hispanic population grows, so does the Catholic Church.
This church has a very interesting history. It was established 50 years ago this year. And the church building that originally housed the parishioners of Our Lady of Grace was a Presbyterian church. It was Grace Presbyterian that owned this property and that had a community here that vacated their church. And so Our Lady of Grace took on the name of Grace Presbyterian as a way to honor the history of that community. And so we became Our Lady of Grace. We needed a new building, a new church, because quite frankly we had outgrown the older structure. It was a beautiful structure. It had a lot of unique architectural features, and we'll always be grateful for having had such a beautiful church here. And people were certainly very attached to it. But nevertheless, because it was constructed well over 40 years ago, in times, buildings begin to deteriorate a little bit, and when it was built, it was not built according to the codes that we have now. I can tell you that we're going from a church that would accommodate about 500 to 550 people to one that will accommodate over 1,000 people.
But some Hispanics are drifting from the church. Almost 1 in 5 Hispanics convert from one religion to another. Of those, 70% leave the Catholic Church.
We don't have the proper educational level of our faith. We know it by instinct, but yet we don't know how to defend it in the face of so many religions in the United States. However, we as Catholics refuse to be reduced to a simplistic answer. We are very complicated, and many of our Protestant friends do not understand us because we are much more complicated, because we have roots and traditions, and they do not always understand it.
The bishop hopes that enrolling more students in Catholic school will help them remain faithful to the church. He and other Catholic leaders believe the church can bring change to the Hispanic community.
I am optimistic about the future of the Hispanic community. I see beyond the problems that we hear about, unfortunately, on the news, social problems that plague every group in our country. And say, for example, the fact that we don't graduate enough young people, that we need to do better at increasing graduation rates, or the problems, as I noted before, of violence. They plague our community as well. Beyond all of that, I see, from my vantage point, an awful lot of goodness and a lot of families. They never get publicity or attention, but they're very faithful to God, first of all. They love their faith, and they participate, and they work to build up the kingdom of God here. So I'm very optimistic, and I see a lot of great people that are getting an education, that are becoming a lot more affluent, and that are doing an awful lot to serve their family and their faith. So I'm hopeful.